right, so now we're going to get into all the fraud that's going on in Minnesota, Somalias, and we got Nick Shirley. He's doing some investigation. This is why the mainstream media, no one's really paying attention too much. They don't do any research. Whatever comes down the pipeline, hey, this is what you need to talk about today. I don't care whether it's true or not. This is your talking point. Argue this point, and that's all you need to do. Is it true? It doesn't matter. We did our little research, and that's all you have to do. This is the spin we want the masses to believe. Go ahead and indoctrinate. Go ahead and just start talking. The more you say it, then we're going to have 100 other news stations say the same thing. Then they're going to start believing it. It's an indoctrination camp. But Nick Shirley, he went ahead, he put boots on the ground. He went out there to see for himself. He went to Minnesota, and yeah, he's basically, Nick Shirley is on the ground doing real investigation, and he uncovered with a DJI mic camera all the fraud in Minnesota. No wonder everybody come here like, hey, you American, you're so lazy. I came here with a loaf of bread, and in 2 days, I could start a business. And you're like, wait, how? How did you start that business? Yeah, I'm a millionaire already. Yeah, how long you been here? I've been here 20, 30, 40, almost 40 years. Where did you get this money from? Oh, you don't know, you're lazy American. The government have given us all this money. They give it to you. All you have to do is apply. And then when you go to apply, denied. Like, you're able to start a business? Yeah, you just go online, put in no social, no nothing, just came across the border, and they'll just give you all this money. And in 2 days, look, I've only been in this country in 2 days, and I bought a house and started my business, and I'm filthy rich, and you've been here all your life. Oh, boy.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going. What do you guys think about the fraud that's taking place here in Minnesota?
I don't think anybody is enabling fraud to happen.
Governor Walz accountable for this.
What was this money spent on? 1.26 million. What was that money spent on? There aren't any kids.
Answer the question. Are there children? There's no children inside this building.
Potentially the largest fraud scandal in U.S. history is taking place in Minnesota, as literally billions of dollars have been funneled through Somali-ran fraudulent businesses. So much fraud, it could actually almost replace the entire GDP of Somalia. These fraudsters have worked hand in hand with the Minnesota government as they enabled billions of dollars to be given to fraudulent businesses underneath welfare purposes. Some of this money eventually landed in the hands of terrorist groups in Somalia like the Al-Shabaab, and others enriched themselves all at the U.S. taxpayers' expense. And in this video, we will break down.
My man got a new Tesla? A Tesla? Oh my God, they living large. While we out here working hard. Yeah, I keep voting the same people into office. They're taking it out of your pocket. And this is why taxes, like when you hear people say, oh, you pay your taxes, like tax on income was never a thing. I think, when did they start putting taxes on your income? I think it was maybe 19, I don't know. I got to look it up.
Down all of the fraud from start to finish, from going to the fraudulent businesses and confronting the people who are making millions of dollars from the government. And we will also be confronting the incompetent government leaders who let this fraud happen. And to make this happen, I met up with a man who's been doing his own investigation for years now, as he has seen the fraud firsthand. His name is David. Let's get into this and be prepared to be shocked. How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine. You heard it's 17.
So, real quick, U.S. income tax. First federal income tax, temporary tax passed to help fund the Civil War, applied only to higher incomes. It was repealed in 1872, but the first one was in 1861. 1894, Congress passed a peacetime income tax. It was struck down by the Supreme Court in 1895. It was ruled unconstitutional. 1913, modern income tax begins. 16th Amendment ratified gave Congress clear authority to tax income. 1913, Revenue Act of 1913 enacted the permanent federal income tax. Bottom line, U.S. first tax income during the Civil War, but the income tax we know today didn't officially start until 1913 with the 16th Amendment. So, taxes on income was never really a thing. In fact, they ruled it unconstitutional in 1895. So, yeah. Yep.
To 10 billion and maybe more. And now the numbers have been revised and put out there publicly that they think it's more like 8 billion. How I got involved is that where my office is here in Minneapolis, I'm sort of in the heart of all of this fraud. And I would see these childcare centers. I said, well, there aren't any kids there. It's the middle of the day. And all I see are a couple of guys standing out front smoking. And then I'd go by another daycare and I'd see the same thing. I said, well, where do these kids play? And so I started to go online and look, and I said, this place is licensed for 80 children. They had 0 children. Every time I went by there, they never had a single child there. Then I started to see all these transportation companies going around, and it was always a Somali driver. And I said, well, that's great. They're out there transportation, contributing, but they never had a pass.
You Americans are lazy. You don't want to work. I come here in 2 days. And I am rich, business, everything. 2 days, you've been here 20, 30 years, you lazy Americans. Look, all you have to do is start a business, transportation, daycare. How did you start this daycare? Where did you get the startup money? Oh, so easy. So easy. Subscribe to my channel, buy my book, and I will tell you.
Never, ever once. And I said, well, what is all this transportation? What are they doing? So then I found out that in Minnesota, they have something called non-emergency medical transportation. So this is going to the dentist's office, therapy, whatever it might be. And I said, well, how many of these companies are there? And the research came back that there are 1,020 of them, and more than 800 of them are Somali-owned. Nobody from the state of Minnesota ever cross-checks to see if any rides were ever actually provided. All they did was write the check.
So right here, we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research. And then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a childcare not far from here in Minneapolis that has two childcares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever. And I've been by that place at least 100 times.
These Somalians, these groups are setting up these daycares, these childcare centers, getting money from the government, but there's no kids.
No kids. Never had any of them. They're all fraught with violations. And even though they have these violations, there's still an operation and they're still getting money.
No kids.
Millions of dollars for every one of them every year.
And who's
millions?
And where are they getting the money from?
So we have a thing called CCAP. It's a blend of federal and state money. The bottom line is it's taxpayer money, so it's state money and it's federal money. And the problem is the people of the state of Minnesota are the ones writing the checks. This is kind of the maddening thing is you have daycare, so you have adult daycare, and then you have child care, and then you have health care. And a lot of these same names keep coming up on all of these different types of businesses. And then, of course, we have the transportation. A lot of those same names appear, a lot of the same addresses. There's one building that has 14 Somali healthcare companies at the same address. There's another building in St. Paul that has 22 Somali healthcare businesses at the same address.
And the government knows about this.
The government knows they're writing the checks. Yeah, the Democrats are over there just writing the checks. What has happened is that Somali community is a very closed community. They will not speak to anyone outside the community and talk about what's going on within the community. They vote as a block. And so when you're a politician, you're saying, look, I've got 100,000 people in Minnesota that if I do something for the community, they're going to vote for me. And that's what it's all about, is getting the votes. And then the people here in Minnesota, you hear this term, Minnesota nice. I'm so sick of that term. The people here are so afraid of being called a racist or an Islamophobe.
This is why we need tougher immigration laws. Get everybody out this country. If you don't belong here, if you didn't come through the right way, I'm sorry, you got to go. Because it's like they're not following the rules. Not everyone. Just want to make that clear. Not everyone, but most of these people, they're not. They're over here. They're giving you false names. There's no real verification. I heard some people were just changing their names at the border. Like, nah, not on the backs of hardworking Americans that's just trying to make ends meet. And then they come here, they get everything handed to them. Absolutely not.
And they're afraid of their own shadow. And I don't understand. This is our future generations are going to have to pay for all this.
Man, like, you don't understand what's going on.
They just want to bury their heads in the sand and go on and just not worry about it.
Nobody want to speak up about
crime
it.
In Minnesota. What did he do about it? Nothing. You got organized crime? What are you doing? This is the Minnesota law which mandates
this guy should run for governor.
Fraud and is a state employee must report that fraud. It's Minnesota statute 3.971 subdivision 9. Not only that, but Walz is also guilty of misconduct of a public employee. When I look at the world as a whole and I look at fraud, the Twin Cities is ground zero. The fraud is worse here than anywhere else ever in history.
Wow.
Anywhere.
We're going to go confront these people. We're going to go to these daycare centers. We're going to see what's actually happening.
Okay, so we have to be careful because these people are very violent. They're exceptionally violent.
Now, with all of David's evidence, we headed out to the streets of Minneapolis to see how much fraud we could uncover in one afternoon.
Where are we going now?
We're going to a place called Mako Child Care, which actually has another child care registered at the same address called Mini Child Care Center.
So we should see lots of children if there's this child care center, especially if there's two.
The two of them combined are licensed for 120.
And they're
How
licensed.
much money have these child care centers received?
None of those vans have moved in 6 months. None of them. In 2020, one of them received 1.3 million. In 2021, they got 987,000. In 2022, they got 714,000.
Salah,
That's
owner.
the last I have for that one. And then the other one,
Damn.
1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about 800,000. And in
They caking.
fiscal year 2023,
They ranking up all the bread.
$59. This place right here.
Wow, you over here making
Well, this is actually two
40,
daycares
50,
are registered
60,
here.
100,000 a year.
One of
They
them is
making that
Mako,
in.
which you see on the sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year. And there are no children. Every facility you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at
man.
any of these facilities.
You can't make
There are
this
indeed
up.
no windows. All the windows are blacked out
What?
right here.
Is that
All right,
even
let's go in.
legal?
and the child care center is locked. Should we ring the doorbell? Try to get in, rang the doorbell. Nobody showed up. They're open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. It says here on their sign, yet there's absolutely nobody here. And this building here, right here, has generated millions of dollars, and it seems like business isn't even open right now, and it's a weekday. And if this was a daycare center, it wouldn't just be in some industrialized building. There would be maybe like a playground or something outside. Or
There's no play area for the kids. So where are the kids? Where's anybody? How can there be nobody here? And it's like this every single day. I've never seen a single child here. In 9 years, I've never seen a single child at this building. Right there.
Oh, then now it looks like we already got the Somalis coming through.
Yeah, they're coming. The word's out.
Hello, is this your daycare?
No. Can you tell us why there are no children? Have you ever seen children at this child care center?
Doesn't know if she's ever seen a child here. All right, let's go to the next location.
And the fraud only gets more from here. Make sure you stay till the very end of this video to see exactly how much fraud we find by the time we are done. And before we go to the next location, I want to show you something super interesting about the flags of Minnesota.
And here in Minnesota, if you take a look at the Minnesota state flag, they recently changed it, and it very much so resembles the flag of Somalia.